morning. I needed to get my coffee, so didn't want to hop on before that. It is Friday, and on Friday here we talk about financial tidbits. So I have a couple of different things that I want to talk to you about today. Some of these I've picked up as questions from my classroom over this last week. I've been teaching every day this week. I taught Monday for a large group of people talking about basic budgeting, and I called that session the ABCs of financial the ABCs of finances. And A was to be aware of where your money's going. That's not new to you. If you've been here for a little while, you've heard me talk about that a lot. B was the budget itself. C is compounding from the positive, remembering that if we invest even a little bit of money, that it grows exponentially. But if we accumulate a little bit of debt, credit card debt specifically, that grows exponentially as well. And D was that debt. So I did that on Monday. It was a great class from my perspective, and I think from the students' perspectives as well. We had a lot of fun in that class and a lot of interaction, which I always appreciate. Then on Tuesday, I taught two federal retirement classes, 4-hour sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I have to tell you, like, the hardest part for me right now is working with the different time zones. Prior to this, when I was traveling all the time, I seem to assimilate pretty easily to the different time zones. So I'm there and I just like pick up that time zone and do whatever. But now I'm not there. And so when I get off the call, it's not actually 5 o'clock, which it would be if I was in California teaching, but it's 7 o'clock here. So that's been really tough for me. But Tuesday was two retirement classes, and then Wednesday was two mid-career classes. Yesterday I only taught for 4 hours. So that was a financial literacy class specifically through the Thrift Savings Program. But with all of that training this week, I've had several people ask questions that I thought would be relevant to talk about here on Friday's Financial Tidbit. Number one, I talked to someone yesterday who said that she had a friend, and her friend is already drawing her Social Security. She's not her full retirement age yet, and that's somewhere between 66 and 67. She's not that age, and she doesn't have to be to draw because any of us can collect as young as 62. However, if we collect under our normal retirement age, our full retirement age, then we're limited in the amount of money that we can make from a job. And her friend she's working and she was notified by Social Security that her Social Security was going to be cut, and she's really upset about it. But the reason that happened is because she's making more than the annual limit. And that annual limit this year is $18,240. So she's got to make a decision either to cut back her hours so that she doesn't make over that $18,240. And if she does that, then okay, her Social Security is not going to be reduced. Or she could just decide that she's going to have her job and she's going to make as much money as she's making in there, and she's not going to worry about her Social Security. But until we are 66 and so many months up to 67, whatever our full retirement age is, we are limited in what we can make in a job. And then once we hit that age for us, for me, it's 67. Once we hit that age, now we can work, we can make as much as we want to, and we no longer have that impact to our Social Security. But she was really surprised about that. She didn't know about that, so I did want to bring that in here. And then yesterday, oh my gosh, we had such a great session talking about financial literacy and specifically with TSP. Lots and lots of interaction. It was a really fun class for me. But I had someone in there. So we're talking about investing in the market. And you know that that's not a smooth ride, right? The market overall, if you study it back to 1920, it is up. Most of you are not going to study it back to 1920, I realize that, but it is up. The problem is that it doesn't just go up like in a linear fashion. It goes up like this, and that can be really hard if you've got money in the market to be watching that when it's going down. And one of my students said, I love this so much, said, No one gets hurt on the roller coaster unless they jump off in the middle of the ride. Like, yes, yes. And specifically, what they were talking about, and what we've talked about before, is that the fact of you've got to ride it out sometimes, right? Because it does go like this, and it's not on a cycle, and you don't know when it's going to happen. Some people think they do, and they're trying to time the market, but by and large, they're very unsuccessful at doing that. So it's in your best interest to stay on the ride until, right? Until what? Well, until you plan to start drawing from your investments, until you retire, until you actually need the money. But freaking out when the market's down, and listen, that's easy to do. I get it, right? It's really scary. But that's when you have a recognized loss. If you sell low, then yeah, when the market was down, you really did lose money. But if the market's down and you can hold on and just wait and wait and wait for the market to come back, then that was a negative number on a piece of paper. Still a valid number, not saying that, but it wasn't a recognized loss because you just let it ride, and then you went back up, right? And then you went in the loop, and then you did all this other stuff. So I really love that analogy, but I think that there's so much that I can do with that in talking about future classes. So you have to be okay with getting on the roller coaster, right? My husband gets motion sickness. I've seen him on one roller coaster. That was not pretty. So if you get motion sickness, or if you have vertigo, or if you're incredibly anxious about investing in the market, then maybe you don't get on the ride, right? Maybe you keep your money in this very safe, conservative thing. Now, again, I'm not saying that's a good idea either, because if you're not taking risk, you're also not making money. However, you have to determine how much risk you're willing to take. And for some of us, maybe that kiddie roller coaster is all we can do. That's okay. For others, they're okay taking the risk and going upside down and doing all this other stuff. So I loved that. I loved that. If you come to any of my financial classes in the future, you are going to hear so much about that roller coaster because I just really loved the way that that was put. The third thing that I want to talk about, and that will be it for today, right? Number one, Social Security has an earnings test until you're 66 or 67. And number two, yes, that roller coaster ride of the market can be scary. It can be, but it's in your best interest to kind of ride the ride until you need the money, until you retire, and things of that nature. We could talk all day about that, but we won't. And the third thing, someone asked me, is this a good time to do a Roth conversion? I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not a certified financial planner, so I'll put that right out there. Could this be a good time to do a Roth conversion? Yes, for sure. And here's why. Because the tax laws that we have in place right now are set to expire. They have a sunset clause in 4 years. So unless that gets extended, taxes are going up. We have an election coming up. We do not talk about politics in this class. I won't do it. But even in good times, even when we don't have anything crazy going on, an election can cause the market to react. There will be some volatility, and taxes, even if they do extend this, which I'm not sure how they could, that's my opinion. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but it's really difficult for me to believe that that would happen just because of the state of the economy. And with all of the stuff that's going on right now, it's very expensive. Those bills will come due. How do we pay those bills? We raise taxes. So if you were to do a Roth conversion now, what that would mean is that you take the money out of your traditional investments, you would pay the taxes on them at today's current tax rate, and you would put them into a Roth. So then later on, it doesn't matter what happens with the taxes, you're not going to have to pay those future taxes because you paid them on the front end. So yes, it might be a very good time for you to do a Roth conversion. What I would say to people in that situation, though, is to make sure that you really know where you are within the tax brackets, because if you do a conversion, the money that you are going to be pulling out and putting into a Roth counts as taxable income in the year that you do that. So if you're like close to the top of an income tax bracket and you do a large conversion, that could push you into a higher income tax bracket, and then you end up owing more at the end of the year on your pay and all of that kind of stuff. So be careful with that. Know where you are. And again, please hear me when I say I'm not a certified financial planner. If you want an extra layer of, licensed help, then you seek out that fiduciary certified financial planner. That's not me. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing going on right now. And in general financial concepts, do I think that this is a good idea? I think that this is. Yeah. The other thing that I want to say as I wrap this up, well, I guess two things now. I'm looking at my little post-it notes. Number one, I've got some free training coming up next week. It's not that, this is a discounted training or anything. It's the training that I have been doing 4 to 5 days a week, and people normally pay for this training. I'm being paid to do this training next week as well, but I have a sponsor for that training. So for people that are coming, it's going to cost nothing. On the 3rd, I am doing a 4-hour federal retirement class. So that is only for federal employees. It doesn't matter whether you are under CSRS or FERS, but we will be talking about all of those financial benefits for your federal pension. It's going to be from 12 to 4 Central Time, so you can figure out what time zone that is for you, but 12 to 4 Central Time on Monday, the 3rd of August. And then on the 5th of August, I'm doing 4 hours specifically on federal insurances. So the company that is sponsoring the classes is a federal company, which is why I'm focusing these two specifically on federal employees. But Wednesday will be 4 hours talking about health insurance, life insurance, long-term care insurance, dental and vision insurance. We'll talk a little bit about flexible spending accounts in that class and the difference between flexible spending and health savings accounts as well. Now, while it is free, there is a limited number of seats, and those classes, both of them, I've been seeing things come in. I haven't counted the numbers yet, but they are filling up. So if you are interested, you do need to enroll. As soon as I hop off this stream, I will put the links for registration into the comments. Registration is done through Eventbrite, and you can go there and you can sign up for those classes if you're interested in doing so. The final thing that I wanted to say, and this is just, it's come up in a lot of different environments this week for me personally, and that is, a reminder. We don't know what's going on with other people. I've had people say, well, they keep showing up, so obviously they're okay. Not necessarily. Just because a person shows up, just because you see them, on Facebook or you see them doing something, it doesn't mean that they're okay. I think everybody's struggling right now. We're struggling in different ways depending on what we have going on, and with different things depending on what we have going on in our lives. But this virus, our economy, the protests, the riots, all of that is happening across the board. And so we're all seeing it, we're all experiencing it from our own perspective, with our own lens. But I think that some people forget that regular life is happening too. Regular life is still going on. Within the last 30 days, for me personally, I've had very good friends lose their spouses, lose family members. I've had people get into automobile accidents, wrecks. People get divorced. People lose their children. People lose their job. All of that stuff is happening too. It's not, quote, just what's happening across the board, which is scary enough. So I'm going to end this by just asking, please try to have a little bit of patience with the people that you're interacting with today, and try to have a little bit of patience with yourself as well. Show yourself some grace. We're all struggling. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out today, and if you're just trying to hold it together, but it feels like everything's falling apart. Take care of yourself. Have some good food today. Try to drink some water today. Go for a walk. Get a little bit of exercise. Try to get some of that stress off. Maybe you spend an hour less on social media today. Maybe spend a little bit less time watching television or something like that, and a little more time interacting with the people that really mean something to you and doing the things that really mean something to you. So I just feel like that's relevant to put out there and to say, and maybe cause you to pause and think for 30 seconds before you maybe go off on somebody or forget that we do all have things going on in our lives right now. I sincerely hope that you have an amazing day. I can see there's a couple people on, but I can't see who they are. And for some reason, this happens. The comments aren't working today, so I won't be able to see them until I hop off the stream. But whoever you are, hello. I hope you're having a great day. And if not, I hope it turns around for you. You're watching this now or later. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. Please be careful out there, be safe, and show yourself a little bit of grace and everybody else too. I'm going to hop off. Have a great day.